Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the channel. I finally got my hands on the V-Copter Falcon. This one I ordered a long time ago and it was delayed from COVID. It's by 00 Tech and it finally came in. This one does boast some pretty amazing stats here, which we're going to go through. This is going to be the unboxing. Apparently they sent me the controller separate. We're going to unbox it, set it up, do some updating if it needs it. I'll walk through all that with you. And then in the next couple of videos, we're going to do my infamous range test. We're going to do flight test in depth, see how everything works on this. This one's kind of interesting, only has 2 arms and 2 propellers, like a bi-copter, I guess you'd call it. Anyway, this is going to be fun. Stay tuned and make sure you subscribe for the in-depth review series on the Falcon. Let's get started. V-shaped bi-copter, tilt rotor control. So the actual rotors are tilted via a gear joint up here at the top of the arms. Up to 50 minutes of flight time. Now, you guys may have seen some of my range tests, especially on the Mavic 3. I did a whole series on that. That one's only claimed to get like 40 to 45 minutes, but in actuality, it seems to only fly for maybe a maximum of 35 as far as what I can see. If these guys are claiming 50 minutes, we are going to test that. So stay tuned for those next couple of videos. 3-axis gimbal, wouldn't expect anything other than a 3-axis. Nowadays, that's kind of the norm. Hopefully it does good pictures and videos. We're going to be exploring that as well. It does 4K video, so that's kind of the new standard now on these. And also it's foldable design. So just like other drones, it does fold up into more of a compact design. Get this open. Wow, cool. And that's basically all it is. It's just right in the box there. This is like one of those molded foam, injection molded foam cases, and that's the actual bi-copter case right there. Pretty small, you know, no real straps or handles on it. Would have liked to see maybe a clip and handles. It looks like it's just basically pressure fitted together. And there it is. That's it. The Falcon V-Copter. Cool, huh? So that would maybe be my only gripe right now, is that's not really in a bag. It's just kind of in a case, so you'd have to throw this like in a backpack or something. Let's see if there's anything else in the box. Really nothing else, just a couple of manuals here to get started. Oh, okay, there we go. I was wondering, where's all the charging stuff going to be? So these are all of the peripherals. So we have a brick, power brick with the battery charger there, wall plug with a figure 8 plug there to go into the brick. This looks like a clip brace. I'm not sure what that's going to be for. We're going to find that out in just a sec. Cables, so different kinds of cables, looks like to connect to the controller or to charge it. There is a full set of extra propellers. We have 2 propellers right here. Last but not least, a little toolkit. Looks like it's going to be for the propeller. Since these aren't quick disconnect propellers, we're going to have to screw them in, and they chose to make them a star pattern. Let's just open this guy up. Bust out the controller. So we have another manual for the controller, taking it out of the main wrapper. So maybe not quite the quality it looks like as some of the other mainstream drones like DJI, but it does seem like it's pretty well done. We'll inspect that a little more in just a second. Looks like we got a strap here, and that's all there is in that box. So this is like a little lanyard that they throw in there for you. I usually don't put lanyards on. The controller's kind of light enough. Maybe if you had a big tablet on there, it might kind of help you support it. Especially with that 50-minute flight time, if it does fly that long, right? Anyway, antennas flip up this way. Oh, awesome. I kind of like that, how they're already on the bottom of the controller. You see that, how they're pointing down? Not going to be up in the way at all. And this is interesting. So the clamp is stored all the way over here on the back. Just going to unfold this. I like this design. So these pop down. That's going to hold the bottom of, say, a phone. The question is, how does this spring open? So it's a very tight spring. Wow, that's really tight. So that's as far as that comes open. So that's phone mode. And then if you have a really big phone, you push these down, and that looks like it's not even going to fit an iPad mini. So it looks like I may want to put one of those 3D printed extension clamps on this one that I have. So we'll do that to see if we can get the iPad many on there. But I like this, how it kind of just opens up. When you have an iPad on here, it might get a little bit, you know, squirrely here. This isn't extremely tight. This part's very tight. Going over to the back here, and this is where the sticks are. So similar idea as some of the other drones, just not quite as fit and finish. While we're at the back, we've got 2 buttons over here. Cooling vent, which is visible once we take out that clamp there. And then this is just all rubber where these sticks are being held. These feel really light, so they're like a hollow aluminum, it feels like. And they're just gonna screw right in here. So screwing those both on. Be careful not to cross thread these. It felt like the threads are kind of fine, so you don't want to cross thread. Rubber surrounding here, so if you're a pincher, no problem, you're going to be able to do that. And then if you're a thumber, it does have a very kind of prickly top, so it's not going to fall off your thumbs. The gimbals do feel quite tight. Return to home button and a stop button here. 00 robotics on the front there. Up on the top, we have a camera button there, and then we have a picture button there. We have 2 rollers. So the roller on the left is spring loaded. It pops back and you only can push it a little ways in both directions. On the right hand side, it's actually a roller that just keeps clicking and keeps going in both directions, never stops. This is going to have a built-in lithium battery, and that's going to be how you're going to be charging this thing, it seems, with USB-C, and then this is going to connect to your device once you clamp it on. Anyway, guys, enough about the controller. Let's get in here to the V-Copter Falcon. In here, nice and snug. I'm just gonna pop it open. Nothing else whatsoever in this molded case. Very good protection, although it's not gonna carry anything except the drone. There's the arm buttons to open the arm. Remember, that's how we need to open the arms, because they apparently lock in. It's just telling you that on both sides, so we can take this off now. And they really want you to know this, because I guess they're having problems with people maybe breaking the arms because they're not pressing that button. So anyway, taking this sticker off. Yikes, that is a pretty hardcore sticker there. The intelligent battery must be charged before being used for the first time. So kind of like DJI, I know I'm comparing it, but same kind of thing. They want you to fully charge it before you use it. So that looks like all the stickers. As you can see now, the propellers are kind of just unfurling here. Here is the gimbal cover. Interesting. So we've got 2 little grips here on either side. If I push this in, let's see if it opens up. There we go. So that's kind of like the locking mechanism for the gimbaled camera, and that is a tiny little camera. Remember the Mini 1 and the Mini 2? It looks like a kind of a camera like that. But that's it. You know, 3-axis pitch, up and down, same deal. Don't really want to touch the glass and get it all blurry. Back and forth. Wow, that has a big rotation back and forth. And then the roll here, not a whole lot of roll, but quite a bit, I guess, 45 degree until it kind of hits the top. That's going to really be playing part in making the video stable. So we'll see how stable it can be with these just 2 arms and 2 rotors. Front obstacle sensors, power button right on the front of the head. There is a battery indicator. It kind of knows it's not charged yet. So there's like 1 blinking LED on both sides. On the bottom of the battery here, it's kind of like rubber feet, 2 infrared or LiDAR laser sensors on the bottom here. And then it actually has a camera. So that's going to be like an optical flow camera, hopefully, where it's going to be looking at the ground, so we have precision landing. And it looks like there may be something else in this. This is like a big piece of glass with just 1 camera. So there may be something else in here, another sensor. Coming over to the back, we have a kind of like a white smoked LED light. And that is a screen, it looks like, for cooling. 00 there, and then we've got vents on the top. Let's go ahead and open these arms. I'm just kind of noticing that this is slightly turning. So this is that joint, guys, on the arms. I'm not going to turn it very hard. It's very easy to just kind of turn. But that's the servo in there that's going to tilt the rotors and give it its motion forward and back. Very interesting. Now let's do what they say and open these things up. Push this button, they say kind of hard. Then there we go. I can pull that open, and I need to pull it far enough where this button pops out. I just heard a click and that button popped out, and now I can't push it back down until I push that button in and then push this down. See how that works? When it reaches the bottom, it clicks back out and you can't pull this up. Or can you? Yeah, actually you can. Okay. Pulling up, you don't seem to have to push in the button. So maybe a little different than what they're saying. I don't know. This is how it's working for me. Definitely pushing down. It will not go down until you push that in kind of hard. There's 2, and voila. That's it. Look at that thing just sitting there. That thing is basically ready to fly. I'm just going to pull these up because they're so easy to turn the motors. But look at that. So imagine seeing that thing in the air just like that. That's going to be so cool. Let's look at that a little bit closer. You see that? Where we have our screws holding the motors on top of the actual pivoting motor mount. And it just goes right into the arm. So a very unique design. Oh, there also are LED lights on the bottom of the arms here. So we're getting on the bottom of the arms and in the very back of the craft are only LEDs, it seems. While the arms are up, check this out. We have venting here, venting there. It looks like we do have a door here we can open up. Awesome. And that is where our micro SD card goes, right in the bottom there. It tells you which direction with the notch on the left. A little bit more venting on the left there. And then there is a little, I think they said that was like the connecting switch if it's not connecting to your controller. Nice little flap there that's kind of tucked away, and yeah, it snaps back in there so it's nice and flush to the body. If we just kind of rotate around here, we have the other side. So same kind of vents. There is a micro USB-C slot, and I'd imagine that's just going to be for software updates if you don't want to do it wirelessly. Hopefully it can do it wirelessly through the controller and your device. But they usually have a port on here just for upgrading firmware if you don't have a device, or if they're doing it from the factory. Perhaps you can also charge it from here within the craft. So next question is, how do we take off the battery? So the battery looks pretty sleek, you know, in there pretty good. Definitely adds a lot of weight to the copter. It looks like we're just pulling these back. So I just both sides pulled it back and it kind of pops out a little bit. And there we go, just sliding straight down. And that is the very bottom of the V-Copter. We have our connection port here for the battery, and really nothing else to see except these little spring-loaded tabs here, which are kind of playing part in the locking mechanism. As you can see, it kind of locks them in over there. So look at that thing without the battery in. It's very light, except for this top portion gets really heavy. These motors and arms are the heaviest part of this thing now. Everything else is very light. Put this guy over to the side and let's just check out this battery. There's the connector here. These were those little side clips I was talking about that you need to pull to open up the battery, take it out. And that's the little clip that goes in the back to hold it in. Maximum is 17.6 and the nominal is 15.4. So definitely a 4S battery pack. Remember this little landing gear they give us, this extra thing if you wanted to put it on? It seems like since this thing is so top heavy, maybe on uneven terrain, it might actually flop over somehow. You want it to be on the bottom side of the battery. And you just like snap this whole thing over, and you can see how those hooks kind of go into the battery grooves and go over the existing feet here. And that is going to give us more stability, it looks like, when we pop this thing in. So let's put the battery in now that we have the feet on, just like so. Yeah, so it goes in the same way. Maybe you got to push it, seems like a little bit harder. So when it does land, or it's just on the ground, that's going to keep it from tipping over. So it looks like maybe a little bit of an afterthought. Since we really have inspected it in depth physically, the controller and the V-Copter, I need to get these devices on that controller. First of all, charge everything up to 100%. Always charge it up before your first boot up, just in case you have to do some updating and stuff. So let's get this thing charged up and check out the interface. It can only go on one way. There's a little notch there. So that's going to plug in like that. And then this plugs into the wall. How do we charge our controller? Well, we get this USB Type-C cable out. USB Type-C on one end and A on the other end. And just plugging in like so for the controller. And then this side, it looks like they're leaving it up to you to find a USB slot. Okay guys, so got the battery charged. Took about a half hour to charge the battery and also the controller when I just kind of plugged them both in. As you can see, now we can press the button and we can see we have a full charge. Seemed like they shipped this about half charge, and then the controller was maybe about 60% charge. You can check that by just pressing the power button on the side there. And you can see those lights come up here. Anyway, we want to get this thing up and running and check out the interface to see how that is. So we're going to have to unplug here and plug in that same USB cable to the USB-A port on the controller. Anyway, mounting your phone up, really simple. Again, just pulling the clamp out. This one hits the buttons on the side, so you're going to want to make sure those buttons are out of the way. And the only way I can do that with this one is to slide the phone to the left. Turning on the controller first. Might not even have to actually do a double press. Let's just try press and hold. Yeah, it looks like this one isn't doing the double like press and hold deal. So there's the controller on, and let's turn on the drone. So the drone power is right on the top here. There we go. So it kind of immediately turned on. You can see that gimbal kind of centering itself there. And I do hear a fan kick on right away. There's a little boot up chime. Now let's plug in. Make sure you obviously download the V-Copter app. You can see it there. I have already downloaded it from the App Store. Again, this is Android I'm using right now. So plugged in, and it automatically opened this up. No, we don't want to use the Hubson. That's a different app I have. It kind of goes through this setup process, you know, kind of like the video of what I already kind of showed you. Oh, wow, this is unfortunate. So please use FlyKit to update on your computer. You can download FlyKit. So that's really unfortunate, man. This is like old school Hubson and old school DJI where you had to actually update drones by plugging them into your computer. So man, that is really unfortunate. They really haven't even got on the fly updates through your phone and wirelessly going yet on this thing. So big con there. That's going to be frustrating. You're going to have to download that app on your computer, you know, plug the whole drone into your computer and do that whole thing. Okay guys, so I thought I'd just really quickly run through the update tutorial on how to update using the FlyKit software. So unfortunately, you do need to download it from your computer and install it. So we're going to go to the website that the Falcon has on the app. So it's 00.tech. So we need to go there first. Kind of interesting how the website is having all of these security pop-ups, and you need to go into it. So proceed at your own risk, just so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I know a lot of you are hesitant about installing Chinese software on your computers, but anyway, going to go down to the bottom. We want to go to product support, and then all the way at the bottom here there is the download for the FlyKit to upgrade the firmware. So either Apple or Windows. I'm going to go ahead and download the Windows version here. Okay, and once that sucker is downloaded, we just want to go ahead and open it. Again, another little firewall here, the Windows detecting in the software. So I got to click more info and then run anyway. So it is a security risk as far as what Windows is seeing here. Okay, so once the program pops up, we're just going to install like you would any other program. So this is from Rockchip Inc. Okay, and what seems to be about a minute or two, you're going to have another device driver installation window pop up. So it needs to install this USB driver. So you need to finish that, and then we're going to run the FlyKit after it installs. So once you click finish, it should auto launch, and it's just waiting for a device to be connected. So what I'm doing here in the background is I'm just basically taking my V-Copter that's already on, and I'm connecting it with a USB-C cable to the computer. Okay, so I just plugged in and we got some activity here, and it immediately recognizes the Falcon. Okay, and it looks like it's also opening up the storage drive on the Falcon in another window. So you could look in there if you wanted to as well. Take out your pictures and videos that way. Looks like it's got a little bit of storage. So we're just going to click on the arrow to continue on. It looks like you can also upgrade the controller and stuff and other devices with the same software. It's just kind of scanning the drone, and it looks like we have an update of version 4.80. So we're just going to click update over there on the right side. And a little bit what's new. It doesn't really say anything at all, but we're going to update anyway. Takes about 5 to 8 minutes, and just got to make sure you have enough battery charge. Don't unplug your USB, and don't disconnect your network. So make sure all that stuff's good and press start. Okay, so we're at just about 100% going on here, and now it's going to start the upload process to actually overwrite the firmware on the drone. So still don't want to be doing anything, just letting the drone sit there and do its thing. So it gets to 100 and then it says installing, and this is where you also have to wait as well. So just go ahead and let it do its thing, and it's going to restart again here. And even though it seems like it hangs for a while, just having this installing information on the screen, you just want to just give it time until you see a check mark and complete. You're going to hear a couple of disconnections as well. Disconnection tones, like from the USB port on your computer. It's going to restart every time it does that. And it seems like it is sticking in here for a couple of minutes in that installing and rebooting again. And it seems like the next time it reboots, it will actually reopen that folder to look at the drive. And all we're looking for is that check mark, and it says updated. So that's what you need to see for the whole process, and you're done with the drone. I'm going to click back here, and right when I'm clicking back, the drone is actually rebooting one last time. And now we want to check for firmware, make sure everything's good with the drone on that home screen, make sure it looks like it's all updated to the most current. I want to go over and see if the controller needs an upgrade. So just click on the back arrow here, and now I'm going to plug in my controller. So what I had to do here, guys, is completely close down the FlyKit software and then reopen it once I disconnected the drone, and go ahead and reopen the FlyKit program. Then it will recognize it and be able to pull the information from it. For some reason it seemed like it hung after I did the update on the drone, so just shut down the software, reboot the controller, and then connect. And there you have it. The firmware is already up to date, so there are no more recent updates for the controller. So that's it. We're already done. Let's just try to go ahead and go into the actual flight modes and see what this thing's all about. Okay, so I got Omni Follow, Manual Control, and Track Shots. Let's just try Omni Follow first real quick. Pressing on it, and there we go. So there is our video. Let's see, so our interface is kind of the same as other drones, very similar. We have our compass here. If I click on it, yeah, if I click on it, it's making the map large, and it's pulling in the data from my phone, right? Let's see if I can put on satellite. Yep. Cool. So it's like a mixed satellite. When you're flying this thing, you're going to be like this, and your thumb's going to be hitting this thing, and look how easy it is just to disconnect, you know, and you're already disconnected. So maybe it would have been cool if they had like a 90-degree that came down and just went right down here, a little short cable, instead of this gigantic loose mess of wires here. Almost having a hard time reconnecting. There we go. So just unplug and plug back in. So not very sensitive there. That's interesting. There are these little arrows right here. Let's just try tap that and see what that does actually. Okay, that just basically does the same thing. It brings the map up. Almost like you gotta tap that little thing over there. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, that is the map and the compass. And if we do turn it while we have this on, it is kind of turning in real time. It's showing you like which way your controller is facing. We have auto takeoff like other drones do over here. If we just press it, and we can just press takeoff now. Of course, I'm not going to do it in the house. Then you have a return to home button there, or you can press that return to home member on the controller right up here. So you have a couple of options. Little home button here. Let's just see what that does if I press home. Just kind of getting us back into the launch screen, and then you can check your album for pictures and videos that you've shot. The account I did already log in, guys. You have to put in your phone number, and then it texts you like a confirmation code. So just to let you know, you're gonna have to do like an email and a phone number to get this thing working. Let's cover up here on the top. It looks like it is in GPS mode here. Can't really click on that. Over here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a bunch of little things here. The controller signal strength, GPS signal strength here. It looks like it's pulling in 10 to 11 satellites inside. So it looks like it's got a pretty good GPS unit. And then we have our power here, 96%. Let's see if anything happens when I click on any of these things. Nope, so we get no more in-depth information here when we click on any of those icons. All this speed and stuff down here is in meters. So hopefully we can change that to imperial, like if you're in the US or something. If you guys are in Europe or other places, this will be perfect for you. Anyway, it's showing us how much storage we have, 2.96 gigs. So it looks like it has some internal storage there. If I click on that, nothing happens. Let's see if we touch some of these buttons here, what happens. So the left roller up top, just rolling it with my left finger. Yeah, and that's doing the camera up and down like we normally would. Oh, cool. And we can pull it up quite high. That's awesome. You can see our scale right here. There's no degrees, but at least you can see like where the level is there. This right roller here, I'm going to roll that, and let's see. I have a feeling that's going to be our EV. Yeah, so you can roll that on the fly to kind of brighten things up. So I'm just rolling it to the right, and it's immediately, you can go all the way to 3. You can see how it really washed that out. This button here does click in, guys. So you hear that? But it looks like the EV will just change anyway and then kind of go away when you stop rolling it. So there's this little mountain icon. That's basically, it just goes into kind of like your gallery immediately from your screen. Nope, no sliding the gimbal with your finger only. Can't do that. Let's go into the options real quick. Here we go. So flight control, tabs on the left side here. You got your controller, your flight control, and then your battery. So it does have a smart battery. That's a 4-cell. Good information there. Battery info, clicking on that. Normal, 0 times, since this is the first time I charged it, but it will tell you how many times it's cycled, which is great. We can change our stick modes to mode 3, 2, or 1, or customize. Custom buttons, those little triggers that were on the bottom, and let's see if we click on it, you can change, looks like 4 items. Go into camera settings, blast off, controller settings, or switch flight modes. Let's go back up to flight control and just see everything that's in here. We've got return to home altitude. Remember, this is all in meters right now. Return to home point. You can choose home, or you can choose your device. So that's great while you're flying. So that thing will just come home wherever your controller is. So good feature there. Max flight altitude. Let's see, you can go from 20 to 500 meters. Max flight distance from 20 to 7,000 meters. So you can change that. Calibrate sensors. So let's see, if we click on there, you can do the IMU and the compass. So I definitely recommend do the IMU on a flat, still surface, and then do the compass when you're out in the field before your first flight, away from metal objects and such. Obstacle avoidance during manual control mode. Interesting. Okay, so this only has brake and hover with these, so there's no APAS type of settings on here. It's just gonna stop if it's notices something in the front of the drone. This doesn't have any sensors except those front ones, and it's not gonna work if it's too dark, just like other drones. So I'm gonna turn that on actually. That'll be good to test in our flight test coming up in the next video. Obstacle avoidance during return to home. Okay, so this is on by default. If it detects something in the front of it, which is actually pretty good, it'll stop, it'll go up, until it's clear of the obstacles, and then it will keep coming home. So great feature there. At least it has those front obstacle avoidance sensors. Really unfortunate I don't see that we can change to Imperial. Anyway, let's just try a few things before we wrap this up here. What I wanted to do is go back into this flight mode here. I'm pressing the follow. Let's go into manual control and see if anything's different. Okay, so since we're in manual control now, my camera is lit up here. So now I can press on my camera. And it looks like it's defaulting in 1080. We want 4K, man. This is supposed to be a 4K drone. Frames per second, can't choose 60 in 4K. We can choose 60 in 2.7K and below, all the way down to 720. And we can't choose any higher than 60 all the way down as well. No real slow-mo here, it looks like, or anything like that. You can do a grid lines, and that's really it for your camera. So those are the manual settings, kind of limited there. If I press on this little camera here, switch between camera and video by pressing that little guy, this will start and stop recording. So it looks like the shutter and stuff is going to be all auto. Okay, when we go into camera, now we have time shots from 3 to 10 seconds. Photo format, we can go JPEG, RAW is grayed out. And we can also do the grid line. So pretty limited stuff here. It looks like it's all auto. But usually this stuff kind of opens up in updates. I do want to see what the latency is, just sitting here like pretty close to the camera. So that is reasonable for like a camera drone. You can see that it's maybe half a second latency, 300 to 500 milliseconds. I mean, you're gonna have some delay, and that is acceptable. The screen does look very clear. I mean, you can see the video in there. Really nice and clear on my phone here. Not seeing any problems, anything jittery. I mean, I am sitting the controller super close. Some other drones have jittery problems with video. So all this will be absolutely tested even more so in our flight test, which is coming up next, guys. So it looks like a kind of intriguing, neat craft. The flight test is going to really be what showcases this drone, if it can actually perform up to my standards or if it's lacking in certain areas. I can already say this cable here on the right, this giant cable, already a real con there. Already a con that I can't change the units. And the main other major con I can just see right now is other drones nowadays, it's kind of a norm to be able to update straight from your controller when you're linked to the craft. So you don't have to be hooking stuff up to the computer and having a whole nother kind of workflow in updating these things. So those are my major cons right now. Everything else looks reasonable, and this, of course, it is pretty unique. I mean, this is a bi-copter, so it's got these cool, totally different kind of setup here with these cool 2 arms coming up. So it's going to be really neat to see this thing fly. I hope you guys enjoyed that in-depth first look at the V-Copter drone. I'm going to see you in the flight test, so don't forget to subscribe and check out that video. When that's done, I will have it linked up here. I'll have it pop up here. And also down there in the description, I'll have what I'm reviewing here, the V-Copter Falcon, all the stuff that I use in my drone videos, my whole setup. You can go ahead and check out that stuff. There's going to be links to that stuff in the description, as well as the series to this will be down below, down in the description. So if you're wondering where to get any of this stuff I review, it's always down below. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and let's go fly this thing. I'll see you in the flight test.